5 years ago, Elena Harper laughed as a man proposed to her in the snow. She stood there in her designer dress, surrounded by her friends with their phones out, and she looked down at the man kneeling before her with a ring box trembling in his work-roughened hands. Her voice cut through the winter air like a knife when she said, "You're an embarrassment. Did you really think I'd marry you? You're nothing. You'll always be nothing." She walked away, left him kneeling there in the blizzard while her friends recorded everything, posting it online for the world to mock. The cameras captured every second of his humiliation, every moment of his heartbreak, every laugh that echoed through the night. 5 years later, Elena Harper received an invitation that arrived by private courier. Her hand trembled as she picked up the heavy cardstock, reading the embossed silver lettering. "Mr. Liam Hale requests your presence as lead event coordinator for the annual Hale Foundation Christmas Gala." She stared at that name. Liam Hale, the mysterious billionaire who had appeared from nowhere 5 years ago. He was the reclusive heir who never showed his face, never did interviews, never attended public events. The man was worth $3 billion, and nobody knew what he looked like. Elena needed this job desperately. Her mother was dying, her father had lost everything in a financial scandal, and she was 3 months away from being evicted from her apartment. The salary listed at the bottom of the invitation could save her mother's life, could clear her debts, could give her a chance to start over. So she picked up her phone and dialed the number on the invitation. The voice that answered was smooth and professional. "Miss Harper," the man said, "we've been expecting your call." Elena asked how they knew she would call, and the voice replied, "Mr. Hale is very good at predicting behavior. The car will arrive at 7 p.m. tomorrow." Then the line went dead, leaving Elena staring at her phone in confusion. The next evening, Elena stepped into the black Mercedes that pulled up to her building. She sat in the back seat, nervous and desperate, adjusting her burgundy dress as the car glided through Manhattan's twinkling streets toward an address she didn't recognize. The car stopped in front of a converted warehouse in Tribeca with no signage, just a brushed steel door and a single camera above it. Elena took the elevator to the top floor, and when the doors opened, she found herself in a penthouse that stole her breath. There were floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, minimalist furniture that cost more than most people's cars, and behind a massive desk stood a man silhouetted against the glowing skyline. He didn't stand when she entered, didn't speak, just watched her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. His voice was deep and controlled when he finally said, "Miss Harper, you're 3 minutes early." Eager, or afraid of being late, Elena lifted her chin and replied, "Punctual." The man repeated the word like he was testing it for lies, then asked her to tell him why she needed this job. Elena had prepared for this, started to give a rehearsed answer about being the best event coordinator in New York, but he cut through her pitch like a knife through silk. "Try again," he said. "Tell me why you need it." "The truth, Miss Harper. I already know the lies." So Elena told him the truth. She told him about her father's collapsed firm, her mother's medical bills, being 3 months behind on rent, her imploded career. She told him she needed this job because without it, she would lose everything. Then the man stood and moved into the light, and Elena's heart stopped. He was tall, broader shouldered than she remembered, his face hardened and sharpened in ways she didn't recognize. He wore a bespoke suit that probably cost more than she used to make in a month. Everything about him screamed power and command, but those eyes, those dark burning eyes, she knew those eyes. "Hello, Elena," he said softly. "It's been a long time." Elena gripped the back of a chair to keep from falling. "No," she whispered. "You're not. You can't be." The man moved closer, each step measured and deliberate. "Can't be what?" he asked. "Can't be the pathetic loser you humiliated in front of 50 people? Can't be the embarrassment you walked away from in a blizzard? Can't be the man whose heart you shattered with your laughter?" His name came back to her then, buried deep under years of trying to forget. "Liam," she breathed. "But you didn't have." He smiled, and it was the cruelest expression she'd ever seen. "Money? Power? A last name that meant something? You're right. I didn't. I was just a bastard son, hidden away, working 3 jobs while studying law at night. My mother made me promise to never claim my inheritance, to never enter that world. She'd seen what it did to people." Liam circled her slowly like a shark circles its prey. "But then you taught me something valuable, Elena. You taught me that love without power is just pathetic. So I went to my father's funeral. I claimed my birthright. And I built an empire on the lesson you gave me that Christmas Eve. Elena's knees buckled and she sank into the chair, her mind racing with fragments of that night. She remembered the party at Richard's parents' estate, the champagne towers, her friends gathering with their phones out because everything was content. Everything was a story to share. She remembered him kneeling in the snow outside, that little velvet box shaking in his hands, his voice rough with nerves saying, "I know I'm not what you dreamed of yet, but I love you. I'll spend my whole life making you happy." And she remembered her own laughter, cold and cutting, because her friends were watching, because Richard was there, because this boy with his second-hand suit and calloused hands represented everything she was terrified of becoming. "What?" Elena whispered, looking up at him. "Why hire me if you hate me?" Liam crouched down, bringing them eye to eye, and she could see the tiny scar on his jaw that hadn't been there before, could see the ice in his eyes and the carefully banked rage. "Because, Elena," he said softly, "I want you to understand what you destroyed. I want you to feel what it's like to need someone who has all the power. I want you to fall so deeply, so completely, that when I walk away from you, exactly the way you walked away from me, you'll finally know what you did." A tear slipped down Elena's cheek before she could stop it. "That's cruel," she breathed. Liam stood, straightening his cuffs. "Yes," he agreed. "It is. The job pays $200,000 for 3 months of work. Enough to save your mother's house, clear your debts, start over. All you have to do is plan the perfect gala. Work with me every day. Smile. Pretend. Be everything I once believed you were." He returned to his desk and pressed a button on his phone. "Marcus will show you out. You start Monday, 8 a.m. sharp." Elena found her voice and asked, "And if I refuse?" Liam's smile was ice when he answered, "Then I make a single phone call, and your mother loses her house tomorrow. Your father's remaining assets get frozen in legal complications that will take years to untangle. You'll spend Christmas in a homeless shelter, wondering if pride was worth it." Elena's hands fisted in her lap. "You become a monster," she said. Liam looked at her with dead calm eyes and replied, "No, Elena. I became what you told me I was. Nothing. And nothing has nothing left to lose." Elena stood on shaking legs and moved toward the elevator, but at the threshold, she turned back. Liam stood at the window now, hands in his pockets, looking out at the city that had chewed them both up and spit them out in different directions. "I'm sorry," Elena said, "for what I did. I'm so sorry." He didn't turn around when he replied, "Sorry isn't enough, but it's a start. See you Monday, Miss Harper." The elevator doors closed on his silhouette, and Elena collapsed against a glass wall, sobbing into her hands as Manhattan sparkled below her like a million judging eyes. She had made a deal with the devil, and the devil wore the face of the only man she'd ever truly loved. What happened next, no one saw coming. Because revenge has a price, and sometimes the person you're trying to destroy is the only person who can save you. This is the story of Elena Harper and Liam Hale, of how cruelty became karma, and karma became something neither of them expected. This is the story of second chances, of forgiveness that costs everything, and of love that survives even when it shouldn't. So here's the question that's going to haunt you tonight. What if the person you destroyed became the only person who could save you? What if the man you humiliated knew exactly who you were, but you couldn't recognize him? What if revenge and redemption were two sides of the same coin, and the only way forward was through the fire? Let's find out. Okay, stop right there. Before we go any further into Elena and Liam's story, I need to know something about you. Because this story is going to test everything you believe about forgiveness, revenge, and second chances, and I need to know where you stand right now before everything gets complicated. So here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment right now and tell me, are you Team Liam or Team Elena? Because listen, this isn't as simple as it seems. Yes, Elena was cruel. Yes, she humiliated him in the worst way possible. But Liam is planning to destroy her when she's already lost everything. So who's right here? Who deserves your sympathy? Comment Team Liam if you think he has every right to make her suffer the way she made him suffer. Comment Team Elena if you think she's already paid enough and deserves a chance at redemption. Or comment Team Revenge if you just want to watch this whole thing burn. And here's the thing, I need you to make this choice now before you know how this ends, because I promise you, by the time we get to that Christmas gala, your answer might completely change. Some of you are going to start Team Liam and end up Team Elena. Some of you are going to be Team Elena and end up thinking Liam should have followed through with his revenge plan. This story is going to mess with your head in the best way possible. Now, if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now. And trust me, you don't want to make you miss a single second. We've got betrayals coming. We've got plot twists that are going to make you scream at your screen. And we've got an ending that's going to make you believe in love again, even if you're the most cynical person on earth. And one more thing before we continue. I want you to predict something for me. Comment below and tell me. Do you think Elena and Liam end up together? Or do you think this is a pure revenge story where he destroys her and walks away? Because the answer might surprise you. Actually, scratch that. The answer will surprise you. The car is coming for Elena tomorrow at 7 p.m. The mysterious Liam Hale is watching. And 5 years of secrets are about to explode. But first, who do you think Liam Hale really is? Drop your theories below. The black Mercedes that arrived at Elena's building wasn't just expensive. It was the kind of vehicle that made doormen stand straighter and neighbors peek through curtains. Elena had spent 3 hours choosing her outfit. A burgundy dress that whispered elegance without screaming desperation, paired with the last authentic designer heels she hadn't yet sold online. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The driver, a silver-haired man in an immaculate suit, opened the door without a word. The interior smelled like leather and something else, something darker, more complex. Cedar, maybe, or aged whiskey. The scent of power. As they glided through Manhattan's twinkling streets, Elena caught her reflection in the tinted window. When had those lines appeared around her eyes? When had her confidence become this carefully constructed mask? 5 years ago, she'd been untouchable. The daughter of comfortable wealth. Not billionaire rich, but comfortable enough to summer in the Hamptons and winter in Aspen. She'd built an Instagram empire on aspiration. Live your best life with Elena. 500,000 followers watching her curated perfection. Brands throwing money at her to hold their product just right. Smile just so. Then her father's investment firm collapsed. Ponzi scheme, the headline screamed. Her family hadn't known. They were victims too. But in her social circle, association was contamination. Her follower count plummeted. Her sponsors vanished overnight. And Richard, her fiancé of 2 years, the hedge fund manager who proposed with a 4-carat diamond at per se, had sat her down with the apologetic expression of a man returning a defective purchase. You understand, don't you, darling? My family has concerns about optics. The wedding would raise questions. Perhaps when things stabilize. He'd marry the yoga instructor 3 months later. Elena had sold the engagement ring to pay her mother's medical bills. The car stopped in front of a building she didn't recognize. A converted warehouse in Tribeca with no signage, just a brushed steel door and a single camera above it. Top floor, the driver said. His first words. He's waiting. The elevator was glass and steel, ascending through what looked like empty floors, until the doors opened directly into a penthouse that stole her breath. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Minimalist furniture that cost more than most people's cars. A Christmas tree in the corner, white and silver, elegant and somehow lonely. And behind a massive desk, silhouetted against the glowing skyline, sat a man. No, not sat. Commanded. He didn't stand when she entered. Didn't speak. Just watched her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. The lighting kept his face in shadow, but she could see the cut of his suit. Bespoke, probably Brioni or Tom Ford. The way he held himself, perfectly still, like a predator deciding whether to pounce or play. Miss Harper. His voice was deep, controlled, with something underneath that made her stomach flip. You're 3 minutes early. Eager, or afraid of being late. Punctual, she managed, lifting her chin. Old habits. Never show weakness. Punctual. He repeated the word like he was tasting it, testing it for lies. Tell me why you need this job. Direct. No small talk. No pleasantries. She prepared for this. Because I'm the best event coordinator in New York, she said, channeling every ounce of the old Elena, the confident one. Because your gala deserves someone who understands luxury, who has connections in. Try again. His voice cut through her pitch like a knife through silk. Tell me why you need it. The truth, Miss Harper. I already know the lies. Her mouth went dry. My father's firm collapsed, she said quietly. My mother has medical bills. I'm 3 months behind on rent. My career imploded. I need this job because without it, I lose everything. Silence stretched between them like a chasm. Then he stood and moved into the light. Elena's heart stopped. No, no, it wasn't possible. He was tall. Had he always been that tall? Broad-shouldered in a way she didn't remember. His face had hardened, sharpened, the softness she'd mocked carved away to reveal brutal handsomeness. Tailored perfection where there had once been thrift store desperation. Command where there had been humiliation. But those eyes, those dark, burning eyes. Hello, Elena, Liam said softly. It's been a long time. The room tilted. She gripped the back of a chair to keep from falling. No, she whispered. You're not. You can't be. Can't be what? He moved closer, each step measured, deliberate. Can't be the pathetic loser you humiliated in front of 50 people. Can't be the embarrassment you walked away from in a blizzard. Can't be the man whose heart you shattered with your laughter. His name. What had his name been? She'd buried it so deep. Liam, she breathed. But you didn't have money. He smiled, and it was the cruelest expression she'd ever seen. Power? A last name that meant something? You're right. I didn't. I was just a bastard son, hidden away, working 3 jobs while studying law at night. My mother made me promise to never claim my inheritance, to never enter that world. She'd seen what it did to people. He circled her slowly, like a shark. But then you taught me something valuable, Elena. You taught me that love without power is just pathetic. So I went to my father's funeral. I claimed my birthright, and I built an empire on the lesson you gave me that Christmas Eve. Elena's knees buckled. She sank into the chair, her mind racing, fragments of that night flashing back. The party at Richard's parents' estate, the champagne towers, her friends gathering, phones out, recording because everything was content, everything was a story to share. Him kneeling in the snow outside, that little velvet box shaking in his hands, his voice rough with nerves. I know I'm not what you dreamed of yet, but I love you. I'll spend my whole life making you happy. And her laughter. God, her laughter. Cold and cutting because her friends were watching, because Richard was there, because this boy with his Goodwill suit and calloused hands represented everything she was terrified of becoming. Ordinary, struggling, forgotten. You're an embarrassment, she'd said. Did you really think I'd marry you? You're nothing. You'll always be nothing. The memory burned like acid. Why? She whispered now, looking up at him. Why hire me if you hate me? Liam crouched down, bringing them eye to eye. This close, she could see the tiny scar on his jaw. New since she'd known him. Could see the ice in his eyes, the carefully banked rage. Because, Elena, he said softly, I want you to understand what you destroyed. I want you to feel what it's like to need someone who has all the power. I want you to fall so deeply, so completely, that when I walk away from you, exactly the way you walked away from me, you'll finally know what you did. A tear slipped down her cheek before she could stop it. That's cruel, she breathed. Yes. He stood, straightening his cuffs. It is. The job pays $200,000 for 3 months of work. Enough to save your mother's house, clear your debts, start over. All you have to do is plan the perfect gala. Work with me, every day. Smile. Pretend. Be everything I once believed you were. He returned to his desk, pressed a button on his phone. Marcus will show you out. You start Monday, 8 a.m. sharp. And if I refuse? Her voice barely worked. Liam's smile was ice. Then I make a single phone call, and your mother loses her house tomorrow. Your father's remaining assets get frozen in legal complications that will take years to untangle. You'll spend Christmas in a homeless shelter, wondering if pride was worth it. Elena's hands fisted in her lap. You become a monster. No, Elena. His eyes were dead calm. I became what you told me I was. Nothing. And nothing has nothing left to lose. The silver-haired driver appeared. Elena stood on shaking legs, moved toward the elevator. At the threshold, she turned back. Liam stood at the window now, hands in his pockets, looking out at the city that had chewed them both up and spit them out in different directions. I'm sorry, she said, for what I did. I'm so sorry. He didn't turn around. Sorry isn't enough, he said quietly. But it's a start. See you Monday, Miss Harper. The elevator doors closed on his silhouette, and Elena collapsed against the glass wall, sobbing into her hands as Manhattan sparkled below her like a million judging eyes. Monday morning arrived wrapped in frost and dread. Elena stood outside the Hale Industries building at 7:45 a.m., clutching a coffee she couldn't taste, and wearing her armor, a charcoal suit she'd bought during better times, pressed until the creases could cut. Around her, the city rushed past in its eternal hurry, everyone chasing something: money, love, meaning, escape. She was chasing survival, and he was waiting upstairs with a knife to her throat, disguised as a paycheck. The lobby was all marble and intimidation, the kind of space designed to make visitors feel small. A receptionist with severe cheekbones and Chanel perfume looked up from her station. "Elena Harper from Mr. Hale," Elena said, her voice steadier than her hands. "Top floor. He's expecting you." The woman's smile was professional and knowing, the look of someone who'd seen others walk into that elevator and come out changed. The doors opened directly into what appeared to be a war room. Glass conference table, massive screens displaying spreadsheets, layouts, donor lists, and Liam, standing at the windows in a navy suit that probably cost what she used to make in a month, talking on his phone in clipped, commanding tones. "I don't care if the governor's wife wants orchids. The theme is winter elegance, not tropical fantasy. Handle it, or I'll find someone who can." He ended the call without goodbye, turned to face her. In daylight, he was devastating. The boy she dismissed had been handsome in an unfinished way, potential not yet realized. This man was a finished masterpiece, all sharp angles and control power. His hair, once shaggy, was now precisely cut. His body, once lean from work and poverty, was clearly maintained by expensive trainers and better nutrition. But it was more than physical. He radiated authority, the kind that made rooms go quiet when he entered. "You're early again," he said. "Do you think punctuality will earn you points?" "I think professionalism is its own reward," she replied, lifting her chin. His lips twitched, almost a smile but not quite. "We'll see if you still believe that in 3 months. Coffee." He poured from a French press without waiting for her answer, handed her a cup. Their fingers brushed, and electricity shot up her arm. His eyes flickered. He felt it too, but his expression didn't change. "The gala is December 24th, he said, pulling up a holographic display that made her feel like she'd stepped into a sci-fi film. "Christmas Eve, 300 guests. Minimum donation, $1 million per couple. Expected revenue, $400 million for the Hale Foundation's children's hospitals." Elena's breath caught. That's massive. Yes, the biggest charitable event in the country. Every billionaire, celebrity, and power player will be there. The press will be circling like vultures. Everything must be flawless. He looked at her directly. One mistake, one whisper of scandal or poor taste, and you're done. No payment. No second chances. Understood. Good. He gestured to the table, where a tablet and stack of folders waited. "Your first task. Review the guest list and seating chart. These people are all ego and vendetta. Seat them wrong, and they'll burn the room down. Literally, in Senator Morrison's case. He has a temper." Elena picked up the tablet, scrolling through names that made her stomach drop. These weren't just wealthy people. These were the people who owned wealthy people. Old money, new money, tech titans, real estate moguls, political dynasties. And there, halfway down, Richard Castellano and fiancée, Amber Collins. Her ex, and his Instagram famous wife. Her hand must have trembled because Liam noticed immediately. "Problem?" His voice was velvet over steel. "Richard's on the list." "Oh yes. Richard Castellano, hedge fund manager. Your former fiancée." Liam leaned against the table, arms crossed. "I did my research, Elena. Very thorough research. I know everything about your life. Every humiliation, every loss, every person who abandoned you." His proximity made her skin warm, made breathing difficult. "Why invite him?" she managed. "Because watching you coordinate the social event of the year while serving drinks to the man who dumped you seemed poetic." His smile was razor sharp. "Unless you'd like me to remove him, I could do that. One word from me, and Richard Castellano becomes persona non grata in every room that matters." The offer dangled like poisoned fruit. Elena stared at him, this stranger wearing her lost love's face, offering her revenge disguised as mercy. "No," she said quietly. "Keep him on the list. I can handle it. Liam's eyes narrowed, studying her like she was a puzzle missing pieces. Can you? Or are you just afraid to show weakness? Maybe both. The honesty surprised them both. For a moment, something flickered in his expression, something that wasn't hatred or calculation, something almost human. Then his phone buzzed, and the moment shattered. I have meetings all day, he said, stepping back, rebuilding his walls. My assistant, Kara, will bring you everything you need. We'll meet each evening at 7 to review progress. Don't be late, don't make excuses, and don't assume I'll be gentle just because we have history. Gentle isn't what I need from you, Elena said before she could stop herself. He froze, turned slowly. What do you need, Elena? The question hung in the air, loaded with meanings she didn't dare name. A fair chance, she whispered, to prove I'm not who I was. Liam studied her for a long, excruciating moment. Then he moved closer, so close she could smell his cologne, cedar and something darker, more complex, and feel the heat radiating off his body. You were cruel, he said softly. You destroyed me in front of an audience. You laughed while I bled in the snow. So tell me, Elena, why should I believe you've changed when all evidence suggests you're just desperate enough to fake it? She met his eyes, refusing to look away, even as shame scorched through her. Because the worst thing you can do to someone isn't breaking their heart, she said. It's showing them who they really are. You showed me that night. It's taken 5 years, but I see it now. I see what I was. And what were you? Terrified. Of being ordinary. Of being poor. Of being forgettable. So I became a thing I was afraid of. Something worse. I became cruel. Silence stretched between them, taut as a wire. Then Liam did something unexpected. He reached out and touched her face, just the lightest brush of fingertips against her cheek, catching a tear she hadn't known she'd shed. Tears are easy, he murmured. Regret is easy when you've lost everything. The question is, would you have apologized if you were still on top? He walked away before she could answer, leaving her alone in the glass and steel war room with a question that cut deeper than any insult. Would she have? Elena threw herself into work with the desperation of a drowning. Guest lists, seating charts, menu tastings, floral arrangements, entertainment bookings, security protocols. Every detail had to be vetted by Liam, who reviewed her work each evening with the critical eye of a man looking for reasons to condemn. But he never found them. Because Elena Harper might have lost everything else, but she still knew how to throw a party that would make gods weep with envy. The ice sculpture is too traditional, Liam said on Tuesday evening, reviewing her proposals. They were in his office again, darkness pressing against the windows, the city glittering below like scattered diamonds. Everyone does swans, or angels. I want something that makes people stop breathing. What if we did a phoenix? Elena suggested, pulling up reference images on her tablet. Rising from flames made of colored ice, reds and golds blending into frozen blues. It represents rebirth, transformation, second chances. Liam went very still. Second chances. For the foundation, she added quickly. The children you're helping. They're getting second chances at life. Right. The children. His voice was strange. Approved. What else? They worked until midnight, the hours bleeding together in a strange, charged intimacy. Sometimes their hands brushed, reaching for the same document. Sometimes she caught him watching her with an expression she couldn't read. Sometimes she forgot to breathe when he leaned close to point out something on the screen. On Wednesday, disaster struck. The caterer canceled, Kara announced, bursting into Elena's temporary office with panic in her eyes. Food poisoning outbreak. The health department shut them down. We're 3 weeks out, and we have no food for 300 billionaires. Elena's mind raced. What about Rousseau? Pierre Rousseau. He did the Met Gala last year. Booked. Everyone's booked. It's Christmas season. Then we don't book someone. We create something. Within an hour, Elena had contacted 5 different high-end restaurants, negotiated a partnership where each would prepare their signature dish, and pitched it to Liam as a culinary journey through New York's finest establishments, exclusive, impossible to replicate, and guaranteed to generate press. Liam stared at her across his desk, something like respect flickering in his eyes. You turned a crisis into an asset, he said slowly. I learned from the best crisis manager I know. Elena replied. My mother. When everything fell apart, she taught me that you can't always control what breaks, but you can control what you build from the pieces. Your mother. Liam leaned back. How is she? The question surprised her. She's surviving. The treatments are hard. She asks about me, worries. I tell her I'm fine. Are you? Elena looked up, caught by the genuine note in his voice. For a moment, she saw the boy he'd been, the one who'd asked about her day, who'd brought her coffee during her late study sessions, who'd made her laugh when she'd been drowning in her own ambition. No, she admitted. I'm not fine. I'm terrified and ashamed and so tired of pretending. But I'm here. I'm fighting. That has to count for something. Liam's jaw tightened. He stood abruptly, moved to the windows. Why didn't you recognize me? He asked quietly. Friday night, when you walked in, you had no idea who I was. Elena's chest ached. I tried to forget. That night, what I did. I buried it so deep because looking at it meant seeing myself clearly, and I couldn't. I wasn't ready to face that person. And now I see her every time I look in a mirror. And I hate her. Liam turned, his expression unreadable in the shadows. Good. You should. He walked past her toward the elevator, then stopped. Tomorrow night, he said without looking back. We're going to the plaza. There's a charity auction for pediatric cancer research. We need to be seen together, build buzz for the gala. Wear something that doesn't make you look like you're attending a funeral. The elevator doors closed before she could respond. Elena sat alone in his office, surrounded by screens and spreadsheets and the ghosts of who they'd both been, and wondered which was worse. The revenge he'd promised, or the moments when he seemed to forget he was supposed to hate her. The Plaza Hotel at night was a cathedral of old money and older secrets. Elena arrived in a dress she'd borrowed from her one remaining friend. Midnight blue silk that whispered against her skin, elegant without trying too hard. She'd done her makeup carefully, enough to look polished, not enough to look desperate. Liam was waiting in the lobby. He wore a tuxedo the way some men wore armor, and when he saw her, something flickered across his face. Appreciation, maybe, or memory. For a heartbeat, his eyes tracked from her heels to her face, and she felt the weight of that gaze like a physical touch. You clean up well, he said, his tone carefully neutral. So do you. She accepted his offered arm. Try not to notice how perfectly she still fit against his side, how her body remembered this even after 5 years of forgetting. Inside the ballroom, New York's elites circled like beautiful sharks. Diamonds caught the light. Champagne flowed. Laughter sparkled, sharp and bright as broken glass. Elena recognized faces from magazines, from her old life, from the parties she was no longer invited to. And then she saw them. Richard and Amber, holding court near the bar. He looked exactly the same, classically handsome, expensively dressed, wearing success like cologne. Amber was luminous in gold, her phone out, taking selfies with the casual ease of someone who'd never known public humiliation. Elena's step faltered. Liam felt it immediately. His hand covered hers on his arm. Warm, steady, grounding. Breathe, he murmured. You're with me. That means you're untouchable. He doesn't even see me, Elena whispered. I'm invisible to him. Good. Let's change that. Before she could protest, Liam guided her directly toward the bar, toward Richard and Amber. Elena's heart hammered against her ribs. Castellano, Liam said, his voice carrying just enough to make heads turn. I don't believe we've met formally. Liam Hale. Richard's eyes widened. The entire room seemed to inhale. Everyone knew who Liam Hale was, or rather, knew of him. The ghost billionaire. The recluse. The man who could buy and sell anyone in this room twice over. Mr. Hale. Richard practically stumbled over himself, extending a hand. This is an honor. I've been hoping to discuss investment opportunities with Hale Industries. I'm sure you have. Liam's smile was polite and cutting. This is Elena Harper, my event coordinator for the Christmas gala. Though I suspect you two know each other. The blood drained from Richard's face. Amber looked between them, confused, her influencer instincts sensing drama. Elena, Richard managed. I didn't know you were working for Mr. Hale. There's quite a lot you don't know about Elena, Liam said smoothly, his hand moving to the small of her back in a gesture that was unmistakably possessive. She's brilliant. I'm lucky to have her. The words were professional, but his tone suggested something else entirely. Around them, phones appeared. People were recording, posting, whispering. By morning, Elena knew the gossip sites would be ablaze. Mystery billionaire steps out with disgraced socialite. New romance or revenge plot. We should get drinks, Liam said, already steering Elena away. Castellano, enjoy your evening. I'm sure we'll see you at the gala. I believe you're seated in the back, near the kitchen. Richard's face went crimson. At the bar, Elena's hands shook so badly she nearly dropped her champagne. That was cruel, she breathed. That was merciful, Liam corrected. I could have destroyed him. One word about his firm's questionable accounting practices to the right regulatory board, and Richard Castellano would be facing federal charges. Elena stared at him. You investigated him. I investigated everyone who hurt you. His eyes were dark, unreadable. I know which friends abandoned you first, which brand dropped you fastest, which doors closed in your face. I have detailed files on every single person who kicked you when you were down. Why? Because knowledge is power, and I wanted to know exactly how much you'd lost. He sipped his whiskey, his gaze never leaving her face, so I could decide if it was enough. If you'd suffered adequately for what you did to me. The honesty was brutal. Elena set down her glass before she broke it. And have I suffered enough? Liam was quiet for a long moment, studying her in the golden light of the chandeliers, with the orchestra playing something classical and sad in the background. I don't know, he admitted. Every time I think I have you figured out, you do something that complicates things. Like what? Like crying when you talk about your mother. Like working until midnight to fix problems that aren't your fault. Like apologizing to waiters when they spill things. He moved closer, his voice dropping. Like looking at me, sometimes with those eyes, and making me remember why I loved you in the first place. Elena's breath caught. Liam. Mr. Hale. A woman's voice cut through the moment. Senator Morrison's wife, bearing down on them with the determination of a social climber spotting opportunity. We simply must discuss the seating arrangements. I refused to sit near the Hendersons after that dreadful business with the yacht. The evening dissolved into networking and small talk. Liam was brilliant at it, Elena realized. Charming when necessary, coldly dismissive when not, always in control. People orbited him like planets around the sun, desperate for his attention, his approval, his money. And he kept Elena at his side through all of it, his hand always finding the small of her back, his body angling toward hers in a way that made his claim unmistakable. It felt like being protected. It felt like being owned. Elena couldn't decide which was worse. Near midnight, they escaped to the terrace. The December cold bit through Elena's thin dress, and before she could even shiver, Liam had draped his jacket over her shoulders. It smelled like him, cedar and ambition, and something indefinable that made her dizzy. You're good at this, she said, looking out of the city lights. The performance. Playing the powerful, mysterious billionaire. It's not a performance. His voice was quiet. This is who I became. Who I had to become. Do you miss him? The boy you were. Liam was silent for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Every day, he finally said. He was kind. Naive. He believed in people. In love. In happy endings. He turned to her, his eyes reflecting the city lights. You killed him, Elena. The boy I was died in that snow, and I had to build this man from the wreckage. Tears burn her eyes. I can't undo it. God, I wish I could, but I can't. No, you can't. He stepped closer, and suddenly the cold didn't matter, because heat radiated between them like a living thing. But you can answer a question for me. What question? That night, when I proposed, did you feel anything? Anything at all? Or was I always just an embarrassment you were planning to discard? The question was a knife, and Elena bled truth. I loved you, she whispered. That's what made it so terrifying. I loved you so much it made me a coward. Because loving you meant choosing a life that wasn't perfect, that wasn't Instagram worthy, that wasn't the fairy tale I'd been taught to want. And I was too weak to choose you over the fantasy. Liam's eyes closed, his jaw working. I thought the truth would make me hate you less, he said roughly. It doesn't. It makes it so much worse. Then he was kissing her. Not gently, not sweetly. With 5 years of rage and longing and grief, his mouth claiming hers like reclamation, like war, like coming home after being lost at sea. Elena gasped against his lips, and he swallowed the sound, his hands fisting in her hair, pulling her closer. She tasted whiskey and anger and something that might have been forgiveness but felt more like falling. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Liam's eyes were wild. "This doesn't change anything," he said, his voice hoarse. "I still intend to destroy you." "I know," Elena whispered. "I'm still going to make you fall for me and then walk away." "I know. You should run. Right now. Walk away and never look back." Elena touched his face, the first time she'd dared, her fingers tracing the sharp line of his jaw, the scar she didn't remember. "I'm done running," she said. "From you. From my past. From the person I was. So do your worst, Liam Hale. Break my heart. Destroy me. But know that every moment until then, I'm going to fight like hell to earn something I don't deserve." "What's that?" "Your forgiveness." He stared at her, like she was a puzzle written in a dead language. Then he pulled away, reclaiming his jacket from her shoulders, putting distance between them. "The car's waiting," he said, his voice cold again, controlled again. "We have an early meeting tomorrow. The entertainment contracts need finalizing." And just like that, the mask was back in place. Elena followed him to the elevator, her lips still burning from his kiss, her heart still racing from his touch, and wondered which of them was falling into the trap they'd set. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of controlled chaos and dangerous proximity. Elena moved through her days like a woman possessed, coordinating vendors, managing egos, solving impossible problems with creativity born of desperation. The gala was coming together beautifully, every detail a small masterpiece, every element designed to stun. But it was the evenings that destroyed her. Every night at 7, she met Liam in his office. Sometimes they discussed the event. Sometimes they just talked about books, about music, about the strange trajectory of their lives. He told her about taking over the company, about fighting his father's old guard, about building hospitals in his mother's name. She told him about losing everything, about humility learned too late, about watching her mother fight cancer with the same strength that had once terrified Elena. Sometimes he kissed her, furious, desperate kisses that tasted like revenge and felt like heartbreak. Sometimes he just looked at her with those dark eyes until she wanted to confess sins she hadn't even committed yet. And every night, Elena fell a little more in love with the man who was planning to destroy her. It was a Thursday, 3 weeks before the gala, when everything changed. Elena was in the Hale Industries conference room, finalizing the entertainment lineup with Kara, when she overheard voices from Liam's office. The door was slightly ajar, and 2 men were speaking in low, urgent tones. "You're playing a dangerous game, Liam," an older voice said. "This woman you've hired. I've looked into her background. She's the one, isn't she? The one from that night." Elena froze. "That's none of your concern, James." Liam's voice was cold. "It is when your vendetta threatens the company's reputation. People are already talking. The photos from the plaza auction are everywhere. Speculation about your relationship. There is no relationship. She's an employee, nothing more." The words hit Elena like a slap. She pressed closer to the door, knowing she shouldn't listen, unable to stop. "Really?" James sounded skeptical. "Because I've known you since you were 18, since you showed up at your father's funeral and claimed your birthright. I've never seen you lose control. But this woman, she makes you reckless." "I'm not reckless. I'm strategic." "Strategic will be firing her and moving on. This is personal. And personal makes you vulnerable." A pause. Then Liam's voice, softer. "She destroyed me, James. She broke me so completely that I had to rebuild myself from nothing. For 5 years, I've thought about this moment, having her exactly where I want her, making her feel what she made me feel. And how does it feel?" Silence stretched like a wire pulled too tight. "It feels like drowning," Liam finally admitted, his voice raw. "Every day, I plan to push her away, to twist the knife deeper. And every night, she looks at me with those eyes, and I want to forgive her. I want to believe people can change. Can they? I don't know. God, I don't know anymore." Elena's hand covered her mouth, stifling a sob. "Let her go," James advised. "Pay her, release her from the contract, and walk away before you do something you'll regret." "Like what?" "Like fall in love with her again." The silence that followed was deafening. Elena turned and ran. Down the hall, into the elevator, out into the December afternoon where snow was just beginning to fall. She walked blindly, tears freezing on her cheeks, Liam's words echoing in her head. It feels like drowning. She'd done that to him. Turned love into suffocation, devotion into destruction. Her phone buzzed. Liam, where are you? We have a final venue walkthrough in an hour. She should respond. Should be professional. Should pretend she hadn't heard the crack in his armor. The admission that revenge was costing him just as much as it was costing her. Instead, she found herself outside a small church in Greenwich Village. The same church where 5 years ago, she and Liam had volunteered together at the soup kitchen. Back when he'd been just a law student with kind eyes, and she'd been playing a charity for Instagram content. Inside, it was quiet, warm. A few people sat in pews, praying or thinking or hiding from the cold. Elena sat in the back and finally let herself break. Elena. She looked up, startled. An older woman in a volunteer vest stood nearby. Mrs. Collins, who'd run the soup kitchen. She looked older now, grayer, but her eyes were still kind. I remember you, Mrs. Collins said softly. You used to come with that nice young man. What was his name? Liam, Elena whispered. Yes, Liam. Such a good boy. Always stayed late. Always patient with the difficult guests. He really cared. She sat down beside Elena. You broke his heart, didn't you? I could see it that last Christmas. He came in alone, devastated. Wouldn't talk about it. Just worked until he couldn't feel anymore. Fresh tears spilled down Elena's cheeks. I was cruel to him. So cruel. And now he's back in my life, and he's going to hurt me the way I hurt him. And I deserve it. I deserve all of it. Mrs. Collins was quiet for a moment, then patted Elena's hand. Revenge is a poison, dear. It destroys the vessel that carries it just as surely as the target it's aimed at. If you both insist on drowning in the past, neither of you will survive to build a future. How do I fix it? How do I make him see that I've changed? You can't make anyone see anything. You can only live your truth and hope they're brave enough to witness it. Mrs. Collins stood. But know this, that boy loved you with his whole heart. If there's any piece of him left inside the man he's become, it's still capable of love. The question is, are you worth the risk of believing in second chances? Elena watched the old woman walk away, her words settling like snow. Are you worth the risk? Her phone buzzed again. Multiple texts from Liam. Elena, where are you? This is unprofessional. Answer me. Please. That last word. Please, spoken like vulnerability, like fear. Elena dried her eyes, straightened her spine, and typed. I'm coming. I'm sorry. I'll explain everything. When she arrived at the venue 40 minutes late, Liam was pacing outside like a caged animal. He looked furious and relieved in equal measure. Where the hell were you? He demanded. I called 6 times. I heard you, Elena said. He froze. What? This afternoon. In your office. I heard you talking to James. About me. About drowning. All the color drained from his face. Elena, I'm not going to quit. She moved closer, her heart pounding. I'm going to finish this job. I'm going to plan the most beautiful gala you've ever seen. And when it's over, when you've had your revenge, when you walk away, I'll let you. I won't fight it. I won't beg. I'll accept it as payment for what I did to you. Liam stared at her, his expression unreadable. But until then, Elena continued, her voice shaking but firm. I need you to stop pretending this is just business. Stop pretending you don't feel anything. Because I heard the truth, Liam. You're drowning just like I am. And we're both too stubborn to ask for help. The snow was falling harder now, dusting his dark hair with white, settling on his shoulders like stars. What are you asking me? His voice was barely audible. I'm asking for honesty. No more games. No more masks. Just truth. Even if the truth is that you hate me. Even if the truth destroys us both. Liam reached out, caught a snowflake on his finger, watched it melt. The truth, he said slowly, is that I came to your apartment last night. At 2 a.m. I stood outside your building for an hour, trying to decide if I should ring your bell. Elena's breath stopped. I want to tell you that I can't do this anymore. That revenge tastes like ash. That every time I plan to hurt you, I remember the boy I used to be, the one who would have done anything to make you smile. He looked at her finally, his eyes burning. The truth is that hating you is killing me, but forgiving you might destroy me even faster. Then what do we do? I don't know, he admitted. For the first time in 5 years, I don't have a plan. I don't know how this ends. Elena stepped close enough to touch him, close enough to feel his warmth in the winter cold. Maybe, she whispered, we stop trying to control the ending. Maybe we just survive each other, day by day, moment by moment, and see what's left when the dust settles. Liam's hand came up, cupped her face, his thumb brushing away a tear she didn't know she'd cried. You're going to break my heart again, he said. I can feel it. Or you'll break mine. Or we'll both break. Or maybe, she covered his hand with hers. Maybe we'll learn how to put broken things back together differently than they were before. He kissed her then, in the falling snow, outside a venue where 300 wealthy strangers would soon gather to celebrate a season of giving, while two damaged people tried to figure out if forgiveness was possible. It was a kiss that tasted like surrender, like hope, like the terrifying possibility of a future neither of them had planned for. When they broke apart, Liam rested his forehead against hers. I'm still angry, he whispered. I know. I still want to hurt you sometimes. I know. But I also, his voice broke. God help me. I also still love you. Some pathetic, stubborn part of me never stopped. Elena saw was half laugh, half cry. That makes you an idiot. Yeah, it really does. They stood there in the snow, two people who'd destroyed each other learning how to hold the broken pieces without cutting their hands, and neither of them noticed the photographer across the street capturing the moment that would change everything. Okay, beautiful souls. We need to talk about what just happened. Did Liam just admit he still loves her? After everything. After the revenge plan. I'm dying here. Drop a comment right now. Are you team forgiveness or team revenge? Because I need to know if you think these two can actually survive each other. And if you're watching this wondering what happens next, hit that subscribe button. We still have the darkest hour, the big twist, and that Christmas Eve gala showdown coming. The photograph went viral within hours. Mystery Billionaire's snow kiss. Liam Hale and former socialite Elena Harper's romantic moment captured outside exclusive venue. By morning, it was everywhere. Gossip sites, social media, entertainment news. The image was devastating in its intimacy. Liam's hand on Elena's face, their foreheads touching, snow falling around them like a benediction. Two people who looked like they were either falling in love or saying goodbye. The speculation was immediate and vicious. Is this a romance or a revenge plot? Sources say Harper humiliated Hale years ago. Is he getting payback? Insider reveals. He's playing her. This is all calculated. Elena's phone exploded with messages. Her mother, worried. Her former friends, suddenly interested again. Richard, of all people, with a curt, be careful. Hale destroys people. But it was the message from an unknown number that made her blood run cold. You think you know him? You don't know anything. He's using you. He's always been using you. Meet me at Café Noir at 3 p.m. if you want the truth. Someone who cares. Elena stared at her phone, ice settling in her stomach. She should tell Liam. Should show him the message. But something held her back. The seed of doubt that had been planted the moment she'd overheard his conversation with James. The fear that maybe, despite everything, she was still just a chess piece in a game she didn't fully understand. At 2:45 p.m., she found herself walking into Café Noir. The woman waiting for her was beautiful in that effortless, old-money way. Blonde, poised, wearing Chanel-like armor. She smiled when Elena approached, but it didn't reach her eyes. Elena Harper. Thank you for coming. I'm Charlotte Ashford. The name meant nothing to Elena. Who are you? Liam's ex-fiancée. The world tilted. Sit, Charlotte said, gesturing to the chair across from her. We have a lot to discuss. Elena sat because her legs wouldn't hold her anymore. Liam was engaged? For 6 months. 2 years ago. Charlotte stirred her coffee with elegant precision. I was perfect for him, really. Old family, impeccable connections, no scandals. His board of directors approved. His financial advisors loved the merger potential. My family's tech empire, his family's old money. What happened? Charlotte's smile was bitter. He called it off 3 days before the wedding. Said he couldn't go through with it. That it wasn't fair to me because he was still in love with someone else. Someone from his past who'd broken him. She looked at Elena directly. That someone was you. Elena's hands trembled in her lap. He's been obsessed with you for 5 years, Charlotte continued. I thought I could make him forget. I was wrong. Everything he's built, every move he's made, it's all been leading back to you. Why are you telling me this? Because I made the mistake of loving a man who was already haunted, and now you're making the same mistake. Charlotte leaned forward. He hired you for revenge, Elena. Everything, the job, the proximity, the kisses, the confession in the snow, it's all part of his plan. He told his inner circle that he would make you fall for him completely, then publicly destroy you at the gala, in front of everyone who matters. On Christmas Eve, Elena felt sick. How do you know this? Because I still have friends on his staff, people who are loyal to me, who see what he's doing and think it's cruel. He has a plan, Elena. At the gala, during his speech, he's going to reveal your past, what you did to him, how you humiliated him. He's going to paint you as a social climber who manipulated her way into his organization. And then he's going to fire you publicly and have security escort you out. The cafe spun. Elena gripped the table edge. I don't believe you. Don't you? Charlotte pulled out her phone, showed Elena a screenshot of an email. It was from Liam's account to his PR team. Gala speech. Need talking points for exposing EH's history. Make it devastating, but factual. This is the main event. The date stamp. 2 days ago. After the kiss in the snow. He's been planning this all along, Charlotte said softly, almost kindly. The romantic moments, the vulnerability, the confession of still loving you. It's all designed to make the fall hurt more. That's who Liam became. That's what you created when you destroyed him. Elena stood on shaking legs. I need to go. Wait. Charlotte grabbed her wrist. I'm not telling you this to be cruel. I'm telling you because no one deserves what he's planning. Walk away now. Quit. Disappear. Save yourself before he destroys you. Why do you care? Charlotte's mask slipped, revealing genuine pain beneath. Because loving Liam Hale nearly destroyed me too. And unlike him, I don't believe in revenge. I believe in mercy, even for the woman who had his heart when I never did. Elena pulled away and walked out into the December cold, Charlotte's words echoing in her skull. She didn't go back to the office. Couldn't face Liam. Couldn't look into those dark eyes and wonder which version was real. The man who'd admitted he still loved her, or the monster planning her public execution. Instead, she went home and finally opened the box she'd kept hidden in her closet for 5 years. Inside, photographs from their time together, concert tickets, a pressed flower from the park where they'd had their first real date, a handwritten note in Liam's messy scrawl. You make me believe in impossible things. And at the bottom, wrapped in tissue paper, the ring he tried to give her that Christmas Eve. She kept it. God help her, she kept it. Elena held the small velvet box, opened it with trembling fingers. The ring was modest, a simple silver band with a tiny diamond, the kind a struggling law student could afford after months of saving. But engraved inside the band were words that broke her. E+L, against all odds. A sob tore from her throat. Her phone rang. Liam. She didn't answer. It rang again. And again. Text messages flooded in. Where are you? Elena, we need to talk about the photos. The press is going crazy. I need you here. Please don't shut me out. Elena, I'm worried. Just tell me you're okay. And finally, I'm coming to your apartment. 20 minutes later, pounding on her door. Elena, open up. I know you're in there. She sat on the floor, surrounded by memories, the ring box clutched in her hand. Elena, please. His voice cracked. Whatever's wrong, we can fix it. Just let me in. Did you plan it? She called through the door. The gala speech. Are you going to destroy me in front of everyone? Silence. Long, damning silence. Then, who told you? The confirmation hit like a bullet. It doesn't matter, Elena said, tears streaming. Is it true? More silence. Liam, is it true? Yes. His voice was barely audible through the door. It was true. The original plan. Before everything got complicated. Complicated. She laughed bitterly. That's what you call this. You've been playing me this whole time. The vulnerability, the confession, the kiss. It was all theater. No. Elena, no. That's not. It started that way, but it changed. I changed. When I'm with you, I forget why I'm supposed to hate you. Open the door and say that to my face. She heard him try the handle, but she'd locked it. Thank God she'd locked it. I can't do this through a door, he said desperately. Let me explain. Explain what? That you're exactly what I made you? That I destroyed the good in you so completely that all that's left is this? She pressed her hand against the door, imagining him on the other side. I don't blame you, Liam. I did this. I created this monster. But I can't. I can't watch you become him fully. I can't be the reason you lose the last piece of who you were. Elena. I quit. The words tasted like ash. I'll finish the vendor coordination remotely. Everything's in place. You don't need me there anymore. Consider this my resignation, effective immediately. No. No, you can't. The contract. Sue me. Take everything. I don't care anymore. I can't do this. I can't keep falling in love with you while you're planning to gut me. She heard him slide down against the door, heard the thump as he sat on the other side. You're falling in love with me? His voice was wrecked. I never stopped. The confession cost her everything. 5 years. 5 years of trying to forget you, trying to hate myself less, trying to become someone worthy of the love I threw away. And now you're here, and you're perfect, and you're terrible, and I love you so much I can barely breathe. But I can't, I won't, be your villain origin story anymore. Elena. He was crying now. She could hear it. Please. I don't know how to undo this. I don't know how to stop being angry and start being. I don't know how to be the boy you destroyed. You can't be him. He's gone. We killed him together. Me with my cruelty, you with your revenge. All we can do now is let each other go before we do more damage. She heard him stand, heard the weight of his body against the door. I love you, he said. I hate that I love you. I hate that even knowing what you did, even planning to destroy you, I still wake up thinking about you, still dream about you, still want you with a desperation that makes me pathetic. Then let me go. Please. If you ever love me at all, let me walk away with some dignity intact. And the gala. I'll send the final documents. Everything's arranged. You just have to show up and play the hero. Her voice broke. You're good at that now. She heard him leave, heard his footsteps retreating down the hall, heard the elevator ding, heard the silence rush in to fill the space where his presence had been. Elena crawled to her bed, still clutching the ring box, and cried until she had nothing left. Outside, snow fell on the city like tears, and in his penthouse across town, Liam sat in the dark, staring at his phone, at the speech his PR team had prepared for the gala, the one that would destroy Elena Harper completely, the one he could no longer imagine delivering. 2 weeks passed in silence. Elena kept her promise, sent spreadsheets, confirmed vendors, coordinated timing down to the minute. But every communication was professional, cold, devoid of the warmth they'd built. She was a ghost in his life, present but untouchable. Liam threw himself into work with manic intensity. Meetings, conference calls, 18-hour days that left him too exhausted to think about the hollow ache in his chest. But nights were impossible. Nights, he stared at the ring he'd had custom-made 5 years ago, a real one this time, with a diamond that cost more than most people made in a year. He'd bought it 3 weeks ago, during a moment of weakness, imagining a different ending to their story. Now it sat in his safe, mocking him. His phone buzzed. James, the speech is finalized. PR team says it's perfect, devastating, but legal. You're sure about this? Liam stared at the message for a long time. Was he sure? No. He wasn't sure of anything anymore except that revenge tasted like poison and felt like drowning. He typed, delete it. All of it. I'm writing my own speech. James, what? Liam, we've been planning this for months. Delete it. That's an order. He put the phone down, opened his laptop, and started writing. Not a speech of revenge, but maybe, possibly, one of redemption. If he could find the words. If words could fix what they'd broken. Meanwhile, across the city, Elena sat in her mother's hospital room, holding her hand as treatments pumped poison into her veins to kill the poison growing inside her. You look terrible, sweetheart, her mother whispered. Thanks, Mom. You're glowing. A weak laugh. Liar. Tell me about the boy. The billionaire. There's nothing to tell. You love him. Elena's eyes filled. I destroyed him, Mama. Years ago. I was cruel and stupid and terrified, and I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me. And now he's back, and he's powerful, and he was going to destroy me back, except, her voice broke, except I think maybe we destroyed each other. I don't know how to fix it. Her mother squeezed her hand with what little strength she had. Do you know why I married your father? She asked. Even after his firm collapsed, Even after the scandal. Even after everyone told me to leave him. Why? Because he was the first person to see me fail and love me anyway. Not despite my flaws. Because of them. Because they made me human. She coughed, recovered. Real love isn't about perfection, Elena. It's about seeing someone's worst self and choosing them anyway. That's the only love worth having. What if he can't choose me? What if I hurt him too badly? Then you survive it. You grieve. And you spend the rest of your life being someone worthy of a second chance, even if you never get one. Her mother's eyes were fierce. But you don't run. You don't quit. You fight for the people you love, even when, especially when, the odds are impossible. Elena thought about the gala, now 3 days away. Thought about Liam, alone in his tower of glass and steel. Thought about the choice ahead, stay away and stay safe, or show up and risk total annihilation. I don't know if I'm brave enough, she whispered. You are. You just forgot for a while. Her mother smiled. Go remind him why he fell in love with you in the first place. Not the girl playing dress-up. The real you. The one who's scared and scarred and still standing. Elena kissed her mother's forehead and made a decision that would either save her or destroy her completely. She was going to gala. December 24th arrived wrapped in fresh snow and fragile hope. The Plaza Hotel's grand ballroom had been transformed into a winter wonderland, all crystalline elegance and subtle magic. The phoenix ice sculpture Elena had designed dominated the entrance, flames of red and gold ice rising into frozen blues, catching the light like captured fire. Elena stood in the service hallway, wearing a simple black dress, elegant but understated, the uniform of someone working, not attending. Her hair was pulled back. Minimal makeup. She looked like what she was. Staff, not guest. It was safer that way. Kara found her checking the floral arrangements. Her clipboard clutched like a shield. Elena, you came. The assistant's relief was palpable. Mr. Hale didn't think you would. He's been intense. I made a commitment to this event. I keep my commitments now. He wants to see you. Before the guests arrive. Elena's heart seized. I don't think that's a good idea. Please. He's in the library. Private. Just 5 minutes. Against her better judgment, Elena followed Kara through the hotel's ornate corridors to a small, book-lined room where Liam stood at the window, hands in his pockets, shoulders tight with tension. He turned when she entered, and the look on his face, raw, desperate, hopeful, nearly undid her. You're here, he breathed. I'm working, not attending. There's a difference. Elena. The ice sculpture looks perfect, she said quickly, keeping the desk between them like a barricade. The caterers are on schedule. Entertainment starts at 8. Your speech is at 9:30. Everything's ready. I don't care about the event. You should. $400 million for children's hospitals rides on tonight. I care about you. He moved closer, and she stepped back. Elena, please. We need to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. You had a plan. I understand it. I even deserve it. But I'm not going to stand there and watch you execute it. I'll coordinate from backstage, and when it's done, I'll leave quietly. You'll never see me again. That's not what I want. It doesn't matter what you want, or what I want. This was always how it was going to end. She turned toward the door. I should get back. I'm not giving the revenge speech. Elena froze. I deleted it. Wrote something new. Something true. Liam's voice was quiet, intense. I'm going to stand in front of 300 powerful people tonight and tell them about the boy I used to be, about the woman who broke my heart, about revenge that turned to poison, and about, he swallowed hard, about second chances, if they exist, if they're possible. She turned slowly, hardly daring to breathe. What? Because your mother was right. What? Liam pulled out his phone, showed her a text conversation with her mother. Elena's eyes widened. You've been talking to my mother. For a week. She called me after you quit. Chewed me out for 20 minutes about what real strength looks like, what real love requires. Told me that if I was going to destroy you, I should at least be man enough to look her in the eye first and explain why her daughter deserved it. Oh my God. So, I went to the hospital, sat with her while she had chemo, and she told me about you, the real you. Not the Instagram princess or the social climber. The girl who reads to kids at the shelter, who pays for strangers' groceries when she sees them counting change, who spent 6 months volunteering at a literacy center to help adults learn to read. His voice cracked. All the things you did that weren't for show. that you never posted, that no one knew about except her. Tears streamed down Elena's face. She said that girl, that woman, was who you'd been trying to become for 5 years. That the person who hurt me was the mask. And the person who quit to protect me from becoming a monster was the truth. I don't know what to say. Say you'll stay. Liam closed the distance between them, his hands framing her face with desperate gentleness. Not for the event. For after. Say you'll give me a chance to be better than my worst instincts. To choose forgiveness over revenge. To choose you over the past. Liam, I hurt you so badly. And I was planning to hurt you worse. We're both broken, Elena. We both have blood on our hands. The question is, do we keep bleeding each other, or do we figure out how to heal? She wanted to believe. God, she wanted to believe so badly it hurt. What if we can't? She whispered. What if we're too damaged? Then we'll be damaged together. And maybe that's enough. Maybe love isn't about being perfect. It's about choosing each other even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Elena looked into his eyes, those dark, haunted, hopeful eyes, and saw the boy she'd loved overlapping with the man he'd become. Imperfect. Scared. Trying. I love you, she said, the words tumbling out like confession. I loved you then. I love you now. I'll probably love you until I die, even if you decide tonight that you can't forgive me. He kissed her. Not with anger this time. Not with revenge. With relief and terror and hope tangled together, his hands in her hair, her arms around his neck, 5 years of grief and longing pouring into the space between breaths. When they broke apart, both shaking, Liam rested his forehead against hers. I have something for you, he murmured. He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket, not the modest one from 5 years ago, but something new. Opened it to reveal a ring that took her breath, a diamond that caught the light like captured starlight, set in a band etched with delicate phoenixes rising from flames. It's a phoenix, he said quietly, like the ice sculpture, rising from the ashes of who we were into who we might become. He took her hand, his fingers trembling. I'm not proposing. Not yet. Not until I've earned the right. But I want to have this. As a promise. That I choose you. That I choose us. That I'm done with revenge and ready for something harder. Redemption. Elena couldn't speak through the tears. Liam slipped the ring on her finger. Not the left hand. Not yet, but the right. A promise. Not an engagement. We'll figure it out, he whispered. Day by day. Moment by moment. We'll make mistakes. We'll hurt each other. But we'll choose to stay anyway. Yes, Elena breathed. Yes to all of it. Yes to you. They held each other as the hotel came alive around them. Guests arriving. Music starting. The gala beginning its glittering transformation. But in that small library, 2 broken people had just decided that love wasn't about perfection. It was about choosing to rebuild together from the ashes. The gala was magnificent. 300 guests in designer gowns and custom tuxedos mingled beneath crystal chandeliers, champagne flowing, orchestral music weaving through conversations about money and power and the careful politics of wealth. Elena moved through the crowd invisibly, checking details, solving small crises, making sure everything ran with the precision of a Swiss watch. But now, the clipboard wasn't armor. It was purpose. And every perfect detail was a gift to the man watching from across the room. Liam, in his element, was devastating, commanding attention without demanding it, charming donors with genuine warmth, discussing his foundation's work with a passion that made people reach for their checkbooks. He was everything she'd known he could become, powerful without cruelty, wealthy without arrogance. And every so often, his eyes would find her across the crowded ballroom, and the look he gave her made her forget how to breathe. At 8:45 p.m., disaster struck. Richard Castellano, 3 glasses of scotch deep and bitter about his back-of-the-room seating, cornered Elena near the dessert display. Well, Elena Harper, the little coordinator. His words slurred slightly. Tell me, how does it feel to serve drinks to the people who used to serve you? It feels like honest work, Richard. You should try it sometime. His face flushed. You think you're better than me now? You're still the same social climbing nobody who... Who what? Liam's voice cut through the noise like a blade. He materialized beside Elena, his presence protective and dangerous. Please, Castellano, finish that sentence. I'm fascinated to hear your opinion. Richard paled. Mr. Hale, I didn't mean. You didn't mean to insult my coordinator? The woman who single-handedly organized the most successful charitable event in the country? The woman who turned a catastrophic vendor crisis into a culinary innovation that will be the talk of New York for months. Liam's smile was ice. Or did you mean to insult the woman I'm in love with? Because that would be extraordinarily stupid, even for you. The room went silent. Phones appeared. Cameras flashed. Elena's heart stopped. Liam, I'm in love with Elena Harper, Liam announced, his voice carrying across the ballroom. And I don't particularly care who knows it or what they think about it. Castellano, your donation is being refunded. Security will escort you out. Now, Richard sputtered protests as two discreet security guards materialized. You can't do this. I'm a significant donor. You're a mediocre investor with delusions of relevance. Elena is worth 1,000 of you. Get out of my event. As Richard was escorted away, the ballroom erupted in whispers. But Liam simply took Elena's hand, brought it to his lips, kissed the phoenix ring on her right hand. Sorry, he murmured. I know we agreed to keep things quiet. You just publicly claimed me in front of every power player in New York. I did, having regrets. Elena laughed. A real laugh, bright and true. Not even one. The orchestra shifted into a waltz. Liam extended his hand. Dance with me. Not as my coordinator. As my... He hesitated, searching for the right word. As her second chance. Elena offered. As my everything. They moved onto the dance floor, and the crowd parted like water. Other couples joined, but Elena only saw him, the boy she'd loved and the man he'd become, overlapping, finally whole. Your speech is in 20 minutes, she whispered as they swayed. I know. Are you nervous? Terrified. He pulled her closer. I'm about to stand up there and confess everything. Our history. My revenge plan. The fact that I failed spectacularly at hating you. It could backfire. People might think I'm weak, letting you back into my life. Or they might think you're human. Is that enough? To be human. It's everything. The dance ended. The orchestra quieted. A spotlight hit the stage where a podium waited, gleaming with promise and threat. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC announced, please welcome our host and founder of the Hale Foundation, Liam Hale. Applause thundered through the ballroom. Liam squeezed Elena's hand once, then walked to the stage with the confidence of a man who decided that truth was worth a risk. Elena moved to the side of the room, her heart in her throat. Liam stood at the podium, looking out at 300 faces, billionaires, celebrities, politicians, philanthropists, people who could make or break reputations with a single phone call. 5 years ago, he began, his voice clear and steady. I was nobody, the bastard son of a powerful family, hidden away, working 3 jobs while studying law at night. I was invisible to people like you, like most of you. Invisible to the world that mattered. The room was utterly silent. I fell in love with a woman who was everything I wasn't. Beautiful, confident, connected. She sparkled, and I thought, stupidly, naively, that love could bridge the gap between who I was and who she needed me to be. Elena's eyes filled with tears. On Christmas Eve, 5 years ago, I proposed to her. I'd saved for months to buy a ring. I practiced my speech. I believed in happy endings. Liam's voice roughened. She laughed in my face. Called me pathetic. Told me I was an embarrassment. She walked away and left me kneeling in the snow while her friends recorded it for social media entertainment. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phones appeared, recording. That night I died. The boy I'd been, the one who believed in love and kindness and second chances. He froze to death in that blizzard. And I decided to become something else. Someone powerful. Someone untouchable. Someone who could make people pay for their cruelty. He paused, his eyes finding Elena across the room. I spent 5 years planning revenge against the woman who destroyed me. I claimed my inheritance, built an empire, became the kind of man she'd wished I was back then. And when her life fell apart, when she lost everything the way I had, I hired her, deliberately, cruelly, with the intention of making her fall in love with me again, just so I could destroy her the way she destroyed me. The crowd murmured, scandalized and fascinated. That woman is here tonight. Her name is Elena Harper, and she's the best event coordinator in New York. Everything you see, the perfection of this evening, the elegance, the seamless execution, that's her genius, her dedication. Elena pressed her hand to her mouth, tears streaming. I brought her here to humiliate her. Liam continued. I plan to expose our history, paint her as a social climber, and have her escorted out in front of all of you. I wanted her to feel what I felt, to understand what she'd done. He gripped the podium, his knuckles white. But here's what I didn't plan for. I didn't plan for her to be genuinely brilliant at her job. I didn't plan for her to have changed, to have spent 5 years becoming someone kind, humble, real. I didn't plan for her to see right through my revenge and love me anyway, to protect me from becoming the monster I was so determined to be. His voice broke. I didn't plan to fall in love with her all over again, but I did, completely, irrevocably. And it terrified me because it meant letting go of the anger that had been keeping me alive. The ballroom was absolutely silent. So here's my speech. Revenge is easy. It's clean. It makes sense. But forgiveness, real forgiveness, is the hardest thing a human being can do. It means looking at the person who hurt you and choosing to believe they can change. It means risking your heart again after it's been shattered. It means being brave enough to build something new from the ashes of what was destroyed. Liam stepped away from the podium, walked to the edge of the stage. Elena Harper broke my heart 5 years ago, and I want to break hers tonight. But instead, I'm standing here in front of 300 people and $400 million worth of judgment to say this. I forgive you. I choose you. I choose us. Not because you're perfect. You're not. Not because I'm perfect. God knows I'm not. But because the alternative, a life without you, a life spent drowning in bitterness, that's not living. That's just slow death. He looked directly at Elena, his eyes shining. Elena Harper, I love you. I loved you when I was nobody, and I love you now that I'm somebody. The question is, will you give me, will you give us, a real second chance? Not as weapons against each other, but as partners. As people brave enough to believe that broken things can be made beautiful again. The crowd erupted, but Elena didn't hear them. She was already moving, running through the ballroom in her simple black dress, tears streaming down her face, not caring about protocol or propriety or the hundreds of phones recording every second. Liam met her at the stage stairs, caught her as she launched herself at him, and kissed her in front of everyone who mattered and several hundred people who didn't. It was a kiss that tasted like forgiveness, like second chances, like two phoenixes rising from the same ashes, learning to fly together. When they finally broke apart, the ballroom was on its feet, applauding thunderously, not because it was romantic, though it was, but because 300 cynical, powerful people had just witnessed something rare in their world. Genuine, messy, imperfect redemption. Yes, Elena whispered against his lips. Yes to all of it. Yes forever. Liam laughed, a real laugh, bright and free, and swung her in a circle as the crowd cheered, and the orchestra struck up something triumphant, and the cameras flashed like stars. And in that moment, surrounded by wealth and power and judgment, two people who'd broken each other learned the most important truth. Some things, once broken, can be put back together differently. Not the same as before. Better. Christmas morning arrived softly, wrapped in fresh snow and the kind of silence that feels like grace. Elena awoke in Liam's penthouse. Not in his bed. Not yet. They were taking things slow, learning each other again. But on the couch where they'd fallen asleep talking until 4 a.m., wrapped in blankets in each other's presence. Liam was already awake, watching her with an expression so tender it made her chest ache. "Merry Christmas," he murmured. "Merry Christmas." She stretched, wincing. "My neck is killing me. That's what you get for falling asleep on my shoulder. I tried to move you to the guest room, but you wouldn't let go. I was afraid you'd disappear. I'm not going anywhere." He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "How does it feel to be internet famous? We're trending. Apparently last night's kiss broke Twitter." Elena groaned. "I don't want to know. Mostly it's positive. People love a redemption arc. Though some of your old crowd is less enthusiastic. Let me guess. They're saying I manipulated you? That I'm still a social climber. They're saying I'm an idiot for forgiving you." Liam's smile was sharp. "I blocked them. All of them. Turns out, when you're a billionaire, you can curate your life aggressively. That's very healthy and not at all concerning." "I'm kidding. Mostly." He stood, offered his hand. "Come on. I have something to show you." He led her to the windows, overlooking Manhattan, glittering white under fresh snow. But he pointed down, to the street below, where a familiar black Mercedes waited. "We're going somewhere, if you want to. No pressure. But it's Christmas, and I thought—" He paused, suddenly nervous in a way that reminded her of the boy he'd been. "I thought you might want to see your mom." Elena's eyes filled with tears. "I had my people arrange it," Liam continued quickly. "She's been moved to a private room at Sloan Kettering, the best oncology wing in the country. They've got experimental treatments, clinical trials. I've arranged for the best doctors, whatever she needs for as long as she needs it. Fully covered." "Liam, that's too much. It's not enough. Nothing I do will ever be enough to make up for the pain I caused by dragging you into my revenge plot. But it's a start, if you'll let me." Elena threw her arms around him, sobbing into his chest. "Thank you. God, thank you. Don't thank me yet. I haven't told you the second part. There's more. Your father, his legal troubles. I've hired lawyers. Real ones. They're reviewing his case, and they think there's a legitimate defense. He might not be guilty of everything he's accused of. It'll take time, but why are you doing this?" Liam cupped her face, his thumbs brushing away tears. "Because you would have done it yourself if you'd had the resources. Because you're good, Elena. Better than I am, better than I'll probably ever be. And I want to be worthy of you. That means helping the people you love. That means becoming the man you believed I could be, back before I let bitterness poison me." At the hospital, Elena's mother was sitting up in bed, looking stronger than she had in months. When she saw them in hand, she smiled. "There they are, my favorite disaster couple." "Mom." Elena rushed to hug her. "You look amazing. What did they give you?" "Oh, sweetheart. They gave me hope. And apparently, an experimental treatment that costs more than my house." She looked at Liam pointedly. "Thank you, young man. Though you and I need to have a serious conversation about boundaries and appropriate gift-giving." "Yes, ma'am." Liam had the grace to look sheepish. "Good. Sit. Both of you. Tell me everything about last night. I've been watching the videos online. Very dramatic, very romantic, very public. Your father would have had a heart attack." They spent Christmas morning in that hospital room, laughing and crying and healing together. Elena's father joined them via video call. He was under house arrest, but Liam's lawyers had already filed motions that would change that soon. It wasn't a perfect Christmas, but it was real. And sometimes, Elena was learning, real was better than perfect. 3 months later, on a warm March evening, Elena stood in the same venue where the gala had transformed everything. But tonight wasn't about charity or power or redemption. Tonight was about joy. The room was smaller, intimate, just 50 people. Elena's parents, healthy and together. Liam's chosen family, James, Cara, Mrs. Collins from the soup kitchen, the vendors who'd become friends during the gala planning. And at the front of the room, under an arch made of phoenixes carved from ice, traditional ones this time, simpler, lasting just long enough for this moment. Liam waited. He wore a simple suit, no tuxedo. His eyes were bright with unshed tears as Elena walked toward him in a dress the color of snow and new beginnings. No photographers, no press, no social media, just the people who mattered, watching two broken people choose each other, officially this time, with vows that acknowledged pain and promised better. "I can't promise perfection," Elena said, her voice steady. "I can't promise I won't mess up, won't say the wrong thing, won't accidentally hurt you while trying to love you. But I can promise that I'll choose you. Every single day. In the good times and the terrible times. When it's easy and especially when it's hard. I choose you, Liam. Forever." Liam's hand shook as he held hers. 5 years ago, I thought you destroyed me, he said. But maybe you just destroyed the version of me that wasn't brave enough to be loved unconditionally. You broke me open, and I had to rebuild. And the man I became, he's capable of forgiveness. He's capable of mercy. He's capable of loving you not despite your flaws, but because of them. His voice cracked. Because they make you human. And humans are the only things worth loving. I choose you, Elena. Forever. When they kissed as husband and wife, the small crowd erupted in applause. But Elena barely heard them. She only heard Liam whisper against her lips, "We made it." Against all odds. The same words he'd engraved in a ring 5 years ago. The same promise, finally fulfilled. 5 years later. The children's hospital wing that Elena and Liam had funded together was opening its doors, and the press conference was chaos. Reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing, politicians angling for photo opportunities. But Elena and Liam stood hand in hand, watching as the first young patients were wheeled through doors that bore both their names, and they couldn't stop smiling. Mr. Hale, Elena, a reporter pushed forward. How does it feel to have rebuilt your lives so completely? From that viral revenge plot to one of New York's most philanthropic power couples. Liam looked at Elena, squeezed her hand. She nodded. It feels like we finally figured out what matters, Liam said. Money, power, reputation, those are nice. But they're not enough. What matters is the people you choose to love and the ones brave enough to love you back. Everything else is just noise. What would you say to people facing their own impossible situations? Another reporter called. People who've made mistakes, burned bridges, hurt people they love. Elena stepped forward, her hand moving unconsciously to her stomach where, hidden beneath her blazer, the smallest beginning of new life was growing. A secret they'd share with the world soon, but not yet. I'd say that you're never too broken to rebuild, she said. That forgiveness, real forgiveness, is possible, but it's not easy. It requires both people to be brave enough to be vulnerable, to admit fault, to risk getting hurt again. And sometimes, the person you need to forgive most is yourself. And if you're the one who was hurt, the reporter pressed. Liam's arm slipped around Elena's waist, protective and proud. Then you have a choice, he said. Let the bitterness consume you, or use the pain to become something better. I chose wrong for a long time. But Elena, she kept showing up, kept being real, kept believing in second chances, even when I didn't believe in them myself. She saved me, not from her, but from myself. As the press conference ended and they walked through the hospital, past walls painted with phoenixes, past children who would live because of their commitment to redemption, Elena leaned into Liam's shoulder. Do you ever think about it? She asked quietly. That Christmas Eve, what would have happened if I'd said yes? All the time. Liam kissed the top of her head. We would have been happy, maybe. Or we would have been miserable. Me resenting you for settling. You resenting me for not being enough. Maybe we needed to break to become people strong enough for this. No regrets. Only one. He stopped, turned her to face him. I regret that it took me so long to understand that love isn't about keeping score. It's not tit for tat, hurt for hurt. It's about choosing grace, even when revenge would be easier. When did you become so wise? About 10 minutes ago. I'm improvising. He grinned. That boy's grin she'd fallen in love with, now worn by a man who'd earned the right to it. But I mean it. Every hard thing we went through, every moment of pain, it brought us here. To this hospital, to these kids, to us. And I wouldn't change a single thing. Elena looked around at the walls covered in children's artwork, at the state-of-the-art equipment, at the hope they'd built from the ashes of their worst selves. We did good, didn't we? Baby, we did great. As they walked toward the exit, hands clasped, a little girl in a hospital gown tugged on Elena's blazer. Excuse me, are you the Phoenix lady? Elena crouched down, smiling. I am. What's your name? Lily. I'm 5. I have leukemia. She said it matter-of-factly, the way children do with terrible things. My mommy says you and your husband were broken, but you fixed each other. Is that true? Elena's eyes filled with tears. Yes, sweetheart. It's true. Will I get fixed too? Yes, Liam said, kneeling beside Elena, his voice fierce with certainty. You'll get fixed. You'll get better. And you'll grow up to do amazing things. We promise. Lily smiled, then hugged them both with the fierce trust of children who still believe in happy endings. As they left the hospital, Elena finally let the tears fall. We're going to make sure she makes it, Liam said. Whatever it takes. Her treatment, her family's expenses, everything. I know. Elena wiped her eyes. Because that's who you are now. Who we are. Not who we are. Who we chose to become. They drove home through Manhattan traffic, and Elena watched her husband, her partner, her second chance, her proof that broken things could be beautiful, and marveled at the strange, impossible journey that had brought them here. From humiliation in the snow to a kiss at a gala to this. A life built on grace instead of vengeance, on healing instead of hurt. "Hey," Liam said, catching her watching him. "Where'd you go?" "Just thinking about how we almost destroyed each other. And I'm so glad we didn't." She placed his hand on her still flat stomach. "Because someone needs us to be whole." It took a moment. Then his eyes widened, filled with tears. "Elena, are you? We're having a baby. A second chance at getting everything right." Liam pulled the car over, illegally, dangerously, perfectly, and kissed her with joy so pure it felt like sunlight after years of darkness. And later, when they told Elena's parents and Liam's chosen family, when they celebrated with champagne, sparkling cider for Elena, and laughter and hope, someone raised a toast. To second chances, to phoenixes rising, to people brave enough to love after being broken. To forgiveness, Elena added. To us, Liam finished. Against all odds. They clinked glasses as snow began to fall outside. The first snow of December, promising another Christmas, another chance to remember how far they'd come. From the underdog, humiliated in a blizzard, to the billionaire who'd planned revenge. From the socialite who'd lost everything to the woman who'd found herself. From enemies, to lovers, to partners, to parents. From broken to healing to whole. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was better. It was real. Okay, it's over. You made it to the end. Elena and Liam got their second chance. They built hospitals together. They had a baby. They turned their tragedy into purpose. And I need to know how you're feeling right now. Comment, "I'm crying." If this ending destroyed you emotionally. Comment, "They deserve this." If you're happy they ended up together. Comment, "Too easy." If you think the forgiveness came too fast. Comment, "Perfect." If this was exactly the ending you needed. I want to see where everyone lands after this emotional journey. Now here's my question for you, and I want you to really think about this. Do you believe this kind of forgiveness is possible in real life? Do you think two people who hurt each other this badly could actually rebuild and create something beautiful? Or is this just a fantasy we tell ourselves because we want to believe people can change? Comment your honest answer, because I think this is the question that separates the romantics from the realists, and I want to know who's in this comment section. If you're still not subscribed after watching a full hour of content, I don't know what to tell you except that you're missing out. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications, because I've got more stories coming that are going to hit you just as hard as this one did. Before you leave, I want to say thank you. Thank you for spending the last hour with Elena and Liam. Thank you for investing emotionally in their story. Thank you for being here. Now go share this video with someone who needs to hear that second chances are possible. Go share it with someone who loves a good love story. Go share it with someone who needs to believe that broken people can become whole again. And remember, you're never too broken to be loved. You're never too far gone for redemption. And it's never too late for a second chance. I'll see you in the next story. Until then, keep believing in impossible things.